So here's what's happening. IonQ is showing up in the UK. They announced that they'll participate in the 2025 UK National Quantum Technologies Showcase on November 7th at the Business Design Centre in London. So if you follow IonQ like I do, this matters for a couple of reasons. First, the event is organized by Innovate UK, the Engineering and Physics Science Research Council, and the UK National Quantum Technologies Programme. So this involves government, research, and industry all in a single room. And second, IonQ mentions that this step follows a landmark year for them in the UK, because they've designated Oxford as their EMEA headquarters, they acquired Oxford Ionics, and that company delivered a full-stack quantum computer called Quartet to the UK's National Quantum Computing Centre in Harwell. So here's why I'm talking about this. To me, this says that IonQ is embedding themselves into UK's national quantum strategy. This means access to government labs, industrial use cases in Europe, and of course, a much stronger footprint outside the US, which is exactly what you want when you're long-term investing in a company like this. So I want to break this down into 3 practical pieces. First, let's talk about what's actually changed. With this Oxford Ionics acquisition, IonQ gained a British trapped ion quantum computing startup that built Quartet, and that system uses electronics rather than lasers to control qubits and is field upgradable. And IonQ's move to make Oxford its EMEA headquarters gives them a base in Europe. Second, I want to go over why this matters for investors. Think about things like location and ecosystem, because being part of UK's quantum ecosystem means that IonQ is planning to evolve their national infrastructure. Also, there's differentiation as well. Many quantum firms talk about vision, but IonQ is showing up physically in Europe, acquiring all this tech, and deploying testbeds, all of which builds credibility. And third, here's what I would be watching next, and some questions to consider. For use cases, will IonQ and Oxford Ionics announce named commercial or government contracts in the UK? Next, think about the Quartet system as the testbed, meaning will IonQ deploy higher performance systems next in that region? And lastly, think about competition and integration, meaning depending on how well IonQ integrates Oxford Ionics' team and their technology will determine if the next step becomes a huge leap. So here's the takeaway. If you're holding IonQ's stock, or maybe you're thinking about it, this is exactly the kind of move that builds conviction. Because at the end of the day, quantum computing is about who's building the ecosystem, under what regulation, and where the real markets actually are. And I get that UK isn't anything like Silicon Valley, but for quantum infrastructure, I think this is a pretty strong play in terms of expansion. So if you want to understand the bigger picture of IonQ's move to Europe, definitely watch this video next. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.